Hello and welcome to Zpandem with Divyasri K Bagrodia. I'm extremely honored to have Mr. Boman Irani here with us today. He's been in the industry for over 20 years now, and his enduring roles have won the hearts of millions of people in India and abroad as well. And he is one of my personal favorites too. So welcome to Zpandem, Mr. Irani, and thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining us today.
Thank you, Divyasri. So sweet of you too for that lovely little welcome. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So, getting right into it, Mr. Irani, what do you think would change for Gen Z in terms of how we live, work, study, consume?
Live, work, study, and consume. Okay, for the time being, there has been a huge shift in how we are living, working, studying, and consuming.
Right.
And the word for that is the new normal. And people keep banding around that term, the new normal, the new normal, the new normal. But I'm a big believer, Divyasri. I'm not just being positive and being, what's the word for it?
Optimistic.
Hopeful and optimistic, and I think that nothing, just as our normal was not forever, even this normal won't last forever. In my opinion, there will be a change. There will be a change as far as approaches are concerned. There will be a
Right.
mind shift, but there will come a point. This culture of ours, this humanity has been through wars, through world wars, through atomic, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. I mean, there must have been changes then too with the way people were thinking, and organizations came up, and then the whole fear of, say, atomic attack. And we've had pandemics in the past, the Great Plague, and in 1918, and the one before that. So things like this will keep coming and hitting, but it doesn't mean that we stop learning and we stop working and we stop growing. There will be a change, but I think it's a short-term period, and over a period of time, there will be a lot of people who will have the attitude of, we can't be too careful. But I also believe that life has to go on. Mouths have to be fed, careers form, and we must prepare ourselves for that period. Till such time, I think this is the interim where we have to say that till such time, let's work like this. Well, let's work on Zoom. Let's work on Skype. Let's educate ourselves on Zoom and Skype. Let's watch movies only on the OTT. So we can't just say that the OTT's platform will be the only way to watch movies. That can't go on forever. There will be another change. So, but then the point I was actually making, Divyasri, was we got to wait for that transitional opening up of the lockdown. Not one fine day we'll all not be on the streets. There'll be a transitional opening up of the lockdown, and we have to prepare ourselves as students, as practitioners, as professionals, as artists, and use the time which we say has been made available to us to sharpen our tools, to sit back. And I always use this thing. I teach for screenwriting every morning between 12 and 2, every day. So I always say that writing is not done like this, on the keyboard. Writing is done like this, with your hands cupped behind your head, because this is what writing is. Because you're thinking, you can't sit in front of the keyboard and say, now I'll start thinking because now I'm writing, because now I have a keyboard in front of me. So this is the time. We have got time to do this. If you can see my posture, it's about cupping your hands and placing it behind your neck and thinking. And the world was running at a breakneck speed. And suddenly we have a little time to stop and stare. We have to stand
slow
and stop
down.
And think. You know what I mean, Divyasri?
Right. So.
Yeah.
So how do we prepare ourselves for this new normal, as you said, in terms of new skills, in terms of attitude, behavior, habits?
Okay, I'm going to make a correction. I'm not saying that this is the new normal forever. This is the new normal till the transitional opening up of the lockdown. I will not accept this as the new normal for the next 10 years of my life. I can't. It's not possible. So I feel that just as, say, for example, what did I do with my life? I said, what am I supposed to do? I can't act right now, but I can sharpen my skills as an actor and go back to the days when I was learning acting and reading books about acting. I'll read those books again. What is it that I always wanted to do in my since I was a child? I wanted to write and I wanted to direct. So I've been luckily learning screenwriting for the last 7 years, and now I'm teaching it to students.
That's
so,
great.
so the point I'm trying to make is that this period and only this period gave me the opportunity to learn and to teach. And while I'm teaching, believe me, I'm learning more than probably the students are, or as much as the students are learning. Because I think teaching is a lovely way to learn and reinforce education for yourself. The teacher gets, reinforces his own knowledge, his or her own knowledge. So that's how I decided to spend my time. Talking to you is an education. I'm seeing the enthusiasm that you're putting into this little interview. I've watched professionals sit in front of me and conduct interviews like that, and it's another day. It's another day at the office now. Suddenly on Zoom, everybody's doing this 16 times a day, 16 interviews a day, because that, according to us, for the time being, is the new normal. So the enthusiasm that I had when I was your age is something that I am actually yearning for. But that's me. Youngsters could say, okay, this is a great thing. Instead of jumping into the big bad world of competitive work, it's maybe a nice time to sit and reinforce what I learned in school and college. May not be a bad idea. Reinforce beliefs and reinforce what you've learned and apply all that you have learned. The mantra of Spiral Bound, which is my group of students that I teach every day. And this, of course, I do for free because it gives me pleasure. Spiral Bound, teach every day. The mantra is simple, apply, apply, and apply. Because we may gain all this knowledge. We may study from as many books, and we may have any number of these workshops or salons that I conduct, or you may have seen with other people. What good is that knowledge if it's not applied? It's just knowledge that you can show off about. I know about this. I read something very interesting. I had this lovely little session on Spiral Bound where we learned how to, do A, B, C, D. Yeah, but that's of no use to you or to humanity or your community or the craft if you don't actually use that knowledge. So I'm a big propagator of that too. But that's me. Youngsters could, I think it's applicable for everyone, Divyasri.
Certainly so, certainly. So do you think there would be something about the film industry or the entertainment sector that would change for good?
Change for good.
Forever, change forever.
I don't know. I don't know, because I think it's too early to say. Tomorrow, one fine day, the virus, like the SARS virus, just disappeared off the face of the earth. It just went away. They said bye-bye and went. And everything, just say, or there might be a fabulous vaccine that might say bye-bye to the virus. And then everything goes back to the old normal. Maybe not, it won't even be transitional. But while I say that it may not be a bad idea for certain films, for example, like yesterday or day before yesterday, I'm not quite sure. There was a film that was released on the OTT platform. Gila Gulabo Sitabo.
Yeah, Mr. Bachchan's, yes.
Now, had there been no pandemic, this film would never have been released on the OTT platform. Another kind of film with another kind of actor would have been released. But because they are in a bit of spot, they decided to release it. So in many ways, it is a huge change where people turn around and say, hey, even big stars might turn around and say, hey, it's not a bad idea for all practical purposes, pandemic or not, to release a film on the OTT platform. Everybody seems to be watching it. More people would watch it on the OTT than it had a proper theatrical release. So maybe that teaches you a lesson of how to operate after the pandemic. Gulabo se Tabo may be one of those things. I'm not so sure that they're saying that you've got to leave a couple of seats and then, watch movies like that. Yeah, that can happen in the transitional phase. And then we'll get back to sharing our popcorns. You know what I mean? The guy next door. So who knows? Who knows? Yeah. But I just fear, yesterday someone said, I've shot a couple of ad films in my house. So we all get together, and my sons and my wife does the clap, and one son does the sound, one son does the camera. But I don't think it would like, people are saying, wow, this is a nice way, the quality is good, the unit is light. And I said, 1 second, when you say the unit is light, you really expect my sons and my wife to come on a set and shoot a film so that you feel that you have otherwise, there's so many people on the set and we have to pay so many people. Yes, that's what industry is about. Feeding people. They aren't interested in your product. They aren't interested in your movie. They're interested in feeding people. So how selfish could that be when you say that we'll have a lighter set, which means films will cost less? But what about people who are already suffering in the pandemic, now think that they are not necessary, that their jobs have been redundant? That's dangerous.
Everyone behind the scenes, they're equally important.
Oh, let me tell you, they are very, very important.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have a heavy set. We do have a heavy crew always, especially in our country. But hey, it feeds mouths and it keeps people off the streets. I think that's the toss-up. I mean, an economist may turn around and say that doesn't make sense to me at all, Mr. Irani. But I say feeding mouths is very important as long as a man is willing to do a hard day's honest work. I'm of that belief. So that's my take on it.
So, do you think OTT releases would bring in a new trend in the Indian film industry?
I think what I said a little earlier, when an Amitabh Bachchan star goes straight to the OTT, it might be a new trend where people will say it may not be a bad idea because for a certain kind of film, Remember at the end of the day when movies started and then, the extravaganza came along and we had the MGM musicals and then suddenly out of the blue, then you had television, the advent of television. And then suddenly everybody said, we don't need to go to see the extravaganza, and maybe the musical died by then. And then again, there was another kind of cinema that came on and revived cinema, and Hollywood became a big thing. There will always be changes, and then video came out, and then again we in India started making some terrible films when the video boom had happened. We started making some terrible films, and then again content became king. So there will be changes, but I think movie going is a way of life here in India. Sitting at home and watching movies is a nice break. But I think families like to go together to watch movies. Friends like to go together to watch movies. Eat that very expensive popcorn and sit and watch movies together. That I don't think will ever die. The only way it can actually die is if we really make terrible movies from today for the next 10 years. If we keep making good movies, people will keep going and watching movies.
Absolutely, sir. So it would be great if you could give us a few words about Zpandem.
There are no magic bullets. There are no tricks to the trade in that sense. There are no cheat codes, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I have learned from a very young age, you have to pay your dues. You could be the most talented person in the world, but you still have to practice in the nets. You could be the most talented person in the world, but you have to learn the basics before you learn to break the rules. You could be the most talented person in the world and you could be a fabulous player in the nets or in small matches, but you have to understand what it takes to be a reasonably talented person in a big game at the big moment in the game. You could have the best shots as a batsman, but you should know and have the heart and the courage to play that big shot when that big shot was required to be played and your team needed you most. So apart from the fact that I'm saying, okay, you got to work hard and you got to be passionate, it's also about being a little bit of a stout heart. And that no book can teach you, no amount of net practice can teach you. It's just resilience that you have to build in from within, because
Yes, sir.
the only way to create a stout heart is to be hungry. If there is no hunger, there is no stout heart. It is what you want out of life that will give you that stout heart. Otherwise, you'll be a wonderfully trained soldier, but when it comes to battle, you just might think 10 times before standing up and facing the enemy. That's my advice.
So you've inspired us so much, and I genuinely think these words will stick with us forever. So thank you so much for being here and giving us your candid and meaningful insights about life. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Divyasri, thank you very much. I feel so proud that you are, you know, having a stout heart to not be, you know, if I were to at your age to interview, say, you know, someone, you know, how am I comparing myself to anyone? To a person of, you know, you consider worth interviewing, let me put it that way. I would never have the courage, or the way you have masked your nervousness is beautiful. You didn't display it, you didn't show it, and that's what's important. I wish I was like you when I was your age. It's an important thing. You just exemplified what I just said. You have a stout heart.
It means a lot coming from you, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Divyasri. God bless you and see you soon.
Thank you, sir. See you soon too.